when it comes to mining the actual resources, there will be the initial overburden will start to develop, start to recover the copper and the zinc at the same time. So there won't be any waste in terms of overburden. It'll all have mineralization. It'll all have value.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Rome Resources CEO Paul Barrett. Paul, very good to speak with you. Could you take us through the latest drilling results at Montagoma and what they reveal about the potential scale of the tin and copper mineralization?
Yes, Stephen, good to see you. So what we've done is we have one rig still operating. It's trying to complete a hole, but we have enough information now that we put out this update, which is essentially telling everyone what we've found, which is essentially a new tin zone, some additional tin in the original main zone that we have in Montagoma, and a significant amount of copper. We put a picture of the core in the announcement, which is quite impressive, up to 13% copper in there. We also have the tin from the main zone in hole 32, which is up to almost 2.5% tin. These are taken with XRF, so they're not official assays, but those numbers will come in eventually, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, it's pointing in the right direction for significantly increasing both the tin and the copper. We have a new geological model based on some of the hole results that suggest we could be chasing a doubling, maybe even more of the resource in there in terms of the minerals.
Paul, the discovery of a possible strike-slip fault and duplicated mineralized zones sounds significant. How might this reshape your geological model and exploration strategy?
Well, the overall geological model of tin coming out at a deeper level in the mineralization system and the copper in the shallower still holds. What we're doing is basically chasing the mineralization chute as it goes deeper and deeper. So what the strike-slip model has done is what we think is happening, and the fault, the evidence of the fault is from some brecciated zones, which are very, very indicative of a major fault system, and it makes sense for it to be a strike-slip fault, which basically moves the section to the right of the fault northwards. And so we're repeating at hole 30 in the northeast. We're starting to repeat the section, so we're now having to chase down to the southeast, which is a good thing because we'll be deeper in the system. The tin grades in 30 at shallow were very good, so we should expect them to increase even more. So what we're seeing is a better target for the deeper tin, although not deeper physically, deeper geologically in the system.
As you mentioned, metallurgical testing is underway. What are you hoping to learn from this, and how could it impact project economics?
Well, as I mentioned, there's a lot of copper in the system. There's also a lot of zinc, but copper is certainly very interesting for us on top of the tin. And so when it comes to mining the actual resources, there will be the initial overburden will start to develop, start to recover the copper and the zinc at the same time. So there won't be any waste in terms of overburden. It'll all have mineralization. It'll all have value. So what we're doing with the metallurgy is trying to understand how we can develop a development scenario where we manage to recover all of these three and silver as well. And so this has now gone to the lab in Ontario, and they'll be looking at it for us. I think although Alphamin next door don't have particularly large amount of copper, they do have some, and they have, we understand, made some copper concentrate. So we feel as though the mineralization system is going to be quite amenable to this recovering the copper as well as the tin. So this is what they're trying to tell us, how it's best to do that with the highest amount of recovery.
With the maiden resource estimate approaching, what should investors be watching out for in the next few months then?
Well, we've got MSA have been working on the resource, and it is essentially going to cover both the Kalai, the pure tin at Kalai, and the polymetallic at Montagoma. But it will be really essentially the main zone that we've been drilling. It probably won't include the northeast zone now across the Strike Slip Fault, because although we have proof that there's tin there, we've only got 2 intercepts. So we need to get a couple more holes in there in the near future, and then we'll be able to increase the resource based on those. So it's almost an incremental thing. We'll come out with the Kalai and the Montagoma main zones, and then later on, maybe we're probably talking about October, come up with an update which will include whatever we find in that northeastern zone. It's work in progress, but it's pretty good so far.
Well, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thanks, Stephen.
Paul Barrett, the CEO of Rome Resources.